I also know who my enemies are now. Like, I don't give a about maintaining friendships with anybody off that show. I walked around in front of him, like, dropped my towel, didn't even, like, blink. I'm responsible for this. Bleh. My NDA is done. I don't give a And I was like, I'm going to talk to a man about a horse. And 3 people went, you're gonna go bang a man? Just looking at your brain.
Just looking at my brain waves going across. Just 2 doctors just going like this. I was having a pseudo seizure while I was postictal.
I don't know what that word means. If you think you really like somebody, go off into the woods for like 3 or 4 days. It'll fix it.
Yeah, I am a smart mouth. How do you think I wonder where I am, who I am by now? Just another minute till we sister sign off. So if you're not with it, wave bye, bye, bye. Hit me up, you're gonna have a real bad time.
Hi, I'm Ashe Lamiroult, and this is the I'm Dead podcast. Today, we have my younger sister, Faith, as our guest. This is going to be a really great way to get to know me as the host, while we also get to talk about illnesses and disabilities within families and the illnesses and disabilities themselves. Hi, Faith. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Right when you started, Mason came in and it was like he knew he had to. He was like, okay, time for me to babysit mom.
He's always with
He's
you.
like, gotta make sure he does not have seizures.
We will pause if you do have one. It'll be okay. And then we can talk about it if you want to or not. We can edit it out, whatever you want to do. So a lot of people don't know what seizures really look like. They look very, very different.
Well,
person to person.
I mean, I always ask Carly if she could record me having one, and she always says no, because it would make her cry.
Also, sometimes...
So now I could finally see myself having one.
Well, it's also kind of weird sometimes trying to catch you having...
Record one?
Well, your seizures don't always look the same either. Like, sometimes they start differently. Sometimes you're like halfway through one and we're like, oh, Faith? And you're like,
or I'll come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come out of it and I'll be like, yeah, I just had a seizure. And you're like, wait, but you were just walking with me. And I'm like, so?
Yeah, I'll be like, are you okay? Do you need to sit? And you're like, no.
Nah.
I'm fine. Nah.
I literally had a full-blown conversation with Taylor. And he's like, you had a seizure during that? And I was like, yeah, I had like 4.
Yeah, sometimes you'll like kind of fall off with your ability to speak, and then other times you'll just power through it. Or you'll start talking to that is not who you were talking to. You'll be like, no, leave me alone. And I'm like, yo, ghosty, get the fuck out of this room.
I'll just start calling random names.
Yeah, it's real creepy. That used to scare the shit out of me, because you'd like fall off the bed at like 2:00 in the morning when you lived with me, and you'd start like being like, Hank. And I'm like, who the fuck is Hank? Let's go over a little bit of the type of epilepsy you have. I would love to know a little bit more about it, because we kind of have been figuring stuff out at the same time that you have, like the entirety of our lives.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I pretty much have not like every type of, it would be dumb for me to say I have every type of epilepsy, but like, so I have cortical dysplasia.
And what is cortical dysplasia? Explain that for us. Like, explain it to me like I'm stupid too, because I don't know about the brain the way you do.
I'll just, so cortical dysplasia is the most common form of epilepsy that there is. Mm-hmm. And it's a malformation of cell buildup on the top of your brain. So your brain has like 370 plus layers in it of cells.
Quite an onion.
And my set of cells that malformed, there's more than 20 plus layers that they would have to remove. And it's like a pretty important area where my cortical dysplasia formed.
This is not making me sad at all. Keep going.
But I mean, they could like, you can like literally like poke around in any part of your brain. You could literally like poke like right here and it wouldn't affect anything.
Because of the like brain elasticity or what?
Your brain isn't as important as like you would think it is. Like it's really important, but like not as many parts. Yeah, not as many parts in your brain do work. They don't do work.
Well, I know that the most important part is your medulla oblongata.
I don't even think about that.
I mean, it's not even, it's kind of like right down at the base of your brain. It's like not even in the.
Yeah, it's that like weird looking thing that in all of the pictures.
Yeah, the little brain at the base of the brain.
Of your brain. Yeah.
So
It's like the little brain in Spy Kids. That's what it looks like.
It does. That's so weird. So it's kind of like a muscle knot almost, because like the brain is a functioning muscle. It's like muscle. So it's almost in like layman's terms, it's like a knot in your brain.
So for a year, they misdiagnosed me with a tumor.
Yes, no, I remember that. That was my thinking.
Because the radiologist misread it.
Okay.
Because they were like, oh, it's a tumor.
Because it showed up as like a mass.
Yeah. Because cortical dysplasia, you know how your brain has the wrinkles?
Yeah, and it's got the wiggles.
The cells misform around those wrinkles.
Okay.
Specifically.
So it's like short circuit. It creates a short circuit because then the electricity can't pass in through the neurons and the wrinkles.
If it were a tumor, the tumor would have just been a white ball.
It's just a mess.
That would have destroyed that whole wrinkled area in general, instead of it being a thicker area of cells that you could see growing around the wrinkle.
Okay. And so that's how they were able to diagnose it. And now with this diagnosis that you have, like now that they have seen.
Yeah, you can see it on my Instagram.
This cluster. Ooh,
There's a picture of it on my Instagram.
Is your Instagram public?
Yeah, it's public. It's in the Join Me highlight.
So on my lovely guest's Instagram, which is at faith.wby.
Faith.wby.
Faith.wby. You can see she's very, very vocal about her progress and the things that are going on and what doctors are looking to do. Yes, you've been extremely helpful just now. Even I didn't know a lot of this. And so you said next year you're being put in as a candidate for a surgery. Fingers crossed. So explain that surgery. Is it obviously invasive because it's brain surgery?
Yeah, we just did a high density sleep deprived 2-hour. What's it called? That
was like that big machine that you sent in. I will actually send you guys a picture of that machine.
Oh, he wanted to do that, but it wasn't that. He ended up it was the cap. We did the cap. So that cap with all those electrodes.
Yeah, you look like a extra in Alien.
So we put a big cap of 127 electrodes over my head. And then he had to make sure they were all connected to specific parts of my brain. Once he got them connected, it was really cool. My doctor, he also had epilepsy when he was a child, and he had brain surgery when he was 19. And he hasn't had seizures in 18 plus years. So that's awesome. I'm really happy for him.
Well, also that's great because now he went into the field that helped him, and so he's trying to
what I wanted to do when I was a kid.
Well, I mean, you're doing that.
Everybody told me I was too stupid.
You're an incredible advocate, Faith. Right now, how many people do you think are going to listen and be like, "Wow, I didn't know any of this stuff about seizures"?
Hopefully, a lot.
Me too. Yeah, I hope a lot too because that's good for me in the end.
I wasn't allowed to have any caffeine or anything. And so so he had me wake up at 6 a.m. Mind you, that's pretty normal for me. I normally wake up around 6 or 7-ish or 8.
This is a lot of variance right there.
I smoke marijuana. That's why. It's not like I'm like you. You're in a dark room.
Don't talk about my cave like that. Fucking ratting me out. Nobody needs to know about my bat cave. Jesus Christ, Faith. Come on. We're not even in the same room and you're doing sibling shit. Jesus fuck.
Nothing.
What did you just say?
I said, do you need any toilet paper?
Shut the fuck up. I hate you. We're not going over that. We're not going to go over that.
So I had to wake up at 6. And then I had to go to bed at this time specifically. I had to go to bed at 11. And then I had to wake up at 3 a.m.
And stay awake. I mean, you did say it was Sleep deprived.
Yeah. Until my EEG, which was at 8 a.m. And get this, I had a seizure in the waiting room.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's
Right. That's great. I was reading. I was like forcing myself to have seizures. I was like doing the damn thing.
You're like, look at
And
me,
a
I'm the
doctor
best.
comes around the corner. And you know me, I can hear when I'm having seizures and stuff. And I hear this lady, she's like, oh my gosh, no, she can't be doing this in here, no. And Alex is like, no, it's okay. He's literally not, I don't want to say he's not paying attention to me, but like he already checked on me.
Yeah, and you guys live together.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a seizure with me, I'm like, she's okay, just stand still for a second. We got to let her come back and then we can move on.
Yeah, like he had his hand on my leg, but he was like, he was playing Mario.
Yeah.
He was playing on the Switch. And everybody's like, why aren't you helping her? And he's like, she's here to have an EEG. She's supposed to be having seizures. Like, it's okay.
These are not something new. This is literally the assignment, guys.
This lady is like, I'm going to get a doctor. She can't be doing this. I was in the emergency department for, I don't know, until 10. I got there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then this doctor, you remember when I was told I had pseudo seizures by that doctor?
Me and Dad
she
got in
also
a lot of fights.
Yeah. She also told me I was schizophrenic.
Yeah.
He told me I was having a pseudo seizure while I was postictal.
I don't know what that word means.
While I was already out of my seizure, you know, when I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of like a zombie, like a vegetable.
You're like getting your energy back. Yeah.
Postictal.
Oh, okay. And this is not the doctor that was supposed to be observing you. This is some random dude.
No, he was just an asshole in the emergency department.
So like you got taken to the emergency department from the appointment you were sent to monitor your seizures.
Yeah. So then I showed him a picture of my brain.
Because you have those.
Because I was like, I want to leave.
That's got to be the coolest shit in the world. Just a picture of you. I want a picture of my brain. It'd probably be really fucked up, but I want to see it.
I was like, I want to leave. I was about to, I was taking the tape off of my IV.
You had an appointment to get to.
I was getting so mad. And like, I'm like, I want to leave. I mean, I started taking the tape off of my IV and my nurse, she's like, no, please just stay. If I promise I get you a different doctor, will you stay and get your EEG if I can get it done? And I'm like, if you can get it done, I'll stay.
I love when you put on, like, I don't know which character Faith this is. I haven't met her enough, you know, because she's new. She's a new Faith. But damn, you know what? It's got to be your Irish heritage. I'm going to steal all your cows if you don't get me my doctor.
You didn't say happy birthday to me this year. I'm not saying happy birthday to you next year.
No, Irish people just leave. I'm kidding. I'm not that Irish. I do the Irish goodbyes. That's the only Irish I think I have in me.
Oh, I've been doing that a lot.
They're the best. I don't need to waste 10 minutes waving goodbye to everything. Dad is actually kind of the person that got me into Irish goodbye because he's like, come on, let's say goodbye to your 13 aunts and all 45 of your cousins and make sure that you hug your uncle a second time. And I'm like, I just want to poof out of existence now. I don't even want to.
There's so many people in the family.
Yeah.
And for why?
Because they're Catholic. That's why.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yeah. I hate that I have like a response. It's the lack of birth control. So after this EEG that you got,
Ashe, there's a little horror story-ish type sitch during the EEG. I cried for Mom.
Were you having a stroke?
Tell me about it, bro.
Were you having a stroke?
I was having a grand mal seizure.
Okay, so like almost. You were like halfway there.
So, and he triggered it. But, okay, so white light. White light is the only thing that makes me have seizures. Everybody knows that, okay?
Well,
so, like, you know, Carly, she's really good. She's like, you know, put your sunglasses down when we're at the raves, when the white light comes on and stuff, or I'll just, like, close my eyes and shit, you know? And he brings the light bar over. He's like, it's going to blink 3 times, but just, go to sleep. And I was like, oh man, this is going to suck. Okay, let me just go to sleep with this strobe. So I'm saying the penguin list that I do in my head from that show Atypical, because that mom from it reminded me of mom.
Oh, I get that. I get that. I watch X-Files because Gillian Anderson is what mom used to look like when I was a kid, and I've decided that she's mom.
Yeah, she really reminds me of mom.
Onto Gillian Anderson.
She really, really reminds me of mom a lot.
Okay.
And that like one list thing, I was like, oh, that helps me fall asleep. That's smart. I think that might have been why.
Because it was like
I started crying for mom because I was saying Adelaide, Chinstrap, Emperor, Gentoo. And the lights are going, but then they started going faster. So I just remember 3 flashes. I fall asleep, and then it's a really trippy scene, the checkerboard of just so many. And I just could hear myself screaming her name, and it was scary.
Because you're subconscious mind and you're like conscious mind.
Yeah, because I was like self-aware, but like my body was like not aware because I was seizing.
That was the cute. I'm sorry, Faith. You were like, my mind was aware, but my body was like, I just really loved the pause that you did. It was just really cute, and I wanted to comment on it. So that's
and then we were leaving, and I was like, Alex, did I cry for mom? I was just like, holy cannoli, that was awful.
That's super
That was
intense.
scary.
Well, so you got enough information from it though? Like, did they know, or you haven't gotten the results yet?
I called them, and they're like, okay, so it is holiday season, and normally we have enough time to get through this stuff, but you've given us so much information.
Oh, so they're still sifting through it.
Alex walked out there, and he said there were 2 doctors sitting in this like little wooden room. Like it was
like a viewing area.
Yeah. It's like 75-inch TV, 2 of them.
Just looking at your brain.
Just looking at my brain waves going across. Just 2 doctors just going like this. Just looking at I'm like, how do you know what's going on?
I mean, they went to school for that's great. I love that. I love that we were both basically science experiments for our own individual illnesses.
Yeah, right. And and I asked my doctor, not my doctor, the doctor that did the study, the EEG. I asked him, I was like, so like, are they like funky? And he's like, your brain's weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, okay, thanks.
You're like, okay, thanks. That's all I really needed to know. But like, based off the evidence of my life,
I've never
could have told you that on my own.
He said he's never seen an EEG read the way mine was. And I was like, what the heck?
It's because you're like a 7-layer onion dip of seizures. We kind of had similar experiences in that way. Because that's a little bit like how the doctors reacted to like my leukemia diagnosis. They were like, yeah, so
you're gonna live for 5 days.
Well, that, and they were like, we've never seen this in a teenager. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
I was like, what? I was like, I remember his name was Dr. Kalpathy. His bedside, he had horrific bedside manner. He used to, do you remember that? I used to have nightmares about that doctor.
No, he was really rude. I didn't like being in the room when he was in there.
Yeah, like, how are you working on an oncology ward? You're wrong. I was like, what? What do you mean I'm wrong? Yeah, that was interesting.
I wish you could have had a doctor like Dr. Turner.
I mean, I had like a pretty large team of doctors for the leukemia because they had the St. Jude's doctors that would work on me. And then they would have the MUSC doctors that would come in. And the only 2 I really, really remember, I remember my nurse, Jessica, because I loved her. I would always tell anyone that came to visit me, they would be like, do you want anything? And I'd be like, bring me beef jerky. And it was because I would always give it to Jessica. She loved beef jerky. And she was always super, super nice. She had like hands of a butterfly. Like, I never felt her putting my port in. She was always super, super nice. And then there was this doctor. I only remember what mom called him. This name I didn't know because I'm not as old as mom, so I didn't know what this show was. But she called my doctor Doogie Howser, and it was because he was like 25 years old. He looked like he could have graduated high school with me. But Doogie Howser, I had to research it. I had to Google it in the hospital. I went to the nurse's station and I was like, can I use your Google? I want to know who this is. And it was like Neil Patrick Harris's like first role ever. And he's just playing like a 12-year-old doctor. And he was super nice. And it was super funny because you could tell he never wanted to talk to mom. Faith? Hi, honey.
I'm sorry.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Right here. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you and see you.
Is it tunneling?
Yeah.
No worries. Faith, don't rush yourself out of it. I see you trying to like make it end. Just let it happen.
I need to get this off my fucking chest.
Faith, just let it happen. You don't have to rush it. Just breathe through it. Okay, you back?
Yeah, is my flower on my hand?
Yeah, your flower held up that whole time. So there's this thing that happens. I will send you that video, by the way, Faith, so you can see what I'm talking about. There's like your body switches when you go into like a seizure, like your shoulders kind of like, I don't know, you get like this really far away look. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like this knowing because I've watched.
Oblivion?
It looks like, I don't know, like you're a Wii character and the person just dropped the controller.
Oh, gosh. So I'm just running off into the corner of the screen.
You're just like, you're doing this. There was this thing that you used to do when you were younger, when it would happen, where like your head, you would just kind of like, it still happens.
I still do the turning. Remember how they used to be right turning seizures? I turn left now.
I mean, your seizures have as your brain develops, I imagine like that kind of stuff does change and evolve, which makes epilepsy like such a difficult disability because people don't know, like you could go years like you did without having a breakthrough seizure. And then suddenly it all changes because your brain is literally constantly forming new synapses and different like always growing.
Yeah. And so, then everybody blames it on me smoking weed.
I mean, that lovely little linger and pause there was like the perfect stoner moment. Everyone blames it on me smoking weed. By the way, I found your Cheech and Chong shirt. I'm never giving it back to you. That's my pajama shirt.
You don't have to.
Okay, good. I do also have your Rufus Du Sol one. That's waiting to go home.
You do have to give that.
Yes, no, I'm going to send that with your Christmas gift. Wow, you just gave me a very scary mom face. Not like
that was an anniversary outings. I feel very lost without that shirt.
I'm going to send it with a Disco Donnie hoodie that I got from Ubby Dubby.
Ash, I have a serious question. With everything that's going on, am I a bad person for drinking out of this cup still? I bought it like in June.
No, you're fine. They didn't sue their union yet at that period in time.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. It's a cute cup. Don't use things that you already spent money on. Then you're basically a conservative. Like, let me just destroy this pack of Bud Lights that I paid full price for so I could destroy it on camera. Look at all this stuff that I just bought that I'm going to wreck.
That's like when Jeffree Star bought Hailey Bieber's makeup just to put it into trash.
Like, congratulations. You still just put money in Miss Bieber's pocket.
And just so you know, this is not PR. This is my own money. Like, okay, it's privilege.
It's giving privilege. It's giving pathetic. She should have been a prima ballerina. She should have just stuck with ballet.
She's very good at it.
Yes, she was a very good ballet dancer too. She was very talented.
Dude, I used to look up One Direction's phone number every single day when I got home from school, okay?
Find me Harry Styles' phone number.
One Direction's phone number, as if One Direction had a phone number.
All five of them shared a phone.
One singular phone number.
Wait, how many were in One? Is it five? Was there five? Did I say the right amount?
There were five of them. Yeah,
they all just shared a flip phone.
That's what man. I was so stupid.
You were a child. Okay. Do you want to know something?
She was a child.
She was a fairy. 4 years. Literally, okay, I figured this out. I didn't figure it out. I found out from the internet. I'm just going to like own up to this. So my autism faith keeps me from understanding a lot of things for a very long time. So like, why did the chicken cross the road? I thought it was just a dumb joke for the entirety of my life. I didn't understand that the punchline was that he was killing himself.
What?
Yeah.
He was killing himself?
Yeah. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Jesus.
Why would a chicken ever cross the road?
To get
That's
to
what
the
I've
other,
always
to get to
was
the
like-
other side.
Oh my, the other side.
And I had no idea. The other big one, the one that
the
unfortunately,
big one.
I unfortunately didn't find this one out from the internet, which I am deeply, deeply upset about. This means that people knew what I was saying every time I said it and just didn't say anything. I would always use like, oh, I'm going to talk to a man about a horse. Anytime I was like, Faith, shut the fuck up. I want to punch you in the face right now. I did not know that meant you were going to sleep with a man. I was like, I thought it was about business deals. I thought it had to do with like, buying a horse. I was like, why is that a euphemism for sex? Like, how am I at fault here? Going to talk to a man about a horse. You're
Because
going to talk to a
men
man
are
about...
supposed to be hung like horses.
I have not met a singular one. My brain did not... Great. Now I feel like I was the only person on earth that didn't know that. But yeah, anyway, I said that because I was about to go... I was literally about to go do a styling event for like a product release in Vegas. And I was like, I'm going to talk to a man about a horse. And 3 people went,
You're gonna go bang a man?
they were like, that's a lot to share. And I was like, I'm going to work. And they were like,
Okay, that's even more share.
they were like, what do you do? I was like, I'm a freelance stylist. And they were like, do you know what that means? And I was like, you know what? I don't think I do. And then they explained it. Faith, I wanted to cry. I went over all of the times that I have said that in my
You've
life.
probably said that so many times.
I'm gonna cry.
You probably said that
to
you're like-
bosses.
you probably-
I've said it to people who employed me.
I was about to say that you've probably said that when you've been on your way to see dad and your bosses knew you were on your way to see dad.
Oh my God. Why didn't anybody tell me? Like, maybe a lot of people don't know what that means. I hope that's the case. And people weren't just like, let the autistic bitch be autistic. Let the tism.
This bitch is acoustic.
At that moment in time, yes. That might actually be why so many of my friends believed that I was autistic. Because men argue with me every time. They're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, no, you just think I'm hot. So everything I say is quirky. And then you're going to hang out with me and you're going to make a joke and I'm going to hyperfixate on what you said. And then I'm going to go and info dump on you. And suddenly by the end of it, you're going to know every conflict Panama has ever had. You have ADHD, right? That's the diagnosis.
Yeah, I have ADHD.
I know that. I just saw it in our exchange. I was like, oh, I see it. I saw it. You're like the Panama Canal. No,
What?
you're good. We love it. Another thing I wanted to touch on because it is something that's been like super, super prevalent with our family is, and we've brought it up kind of shallowly because that's what we tend to do because people get really, really scared when you start being critical of the people who raised you.
Mom?
People get real weird when you're critical of your parents. Like I've noticed that a lot of people don't like, they'll know that they did not get everything that they needed, but they're like, no, they were still fucking so good. And I'm like, doing the bare minimum for you isn't a good parent. And you're allowed to be honest with your parents about this stuff. But I want us to kind of touch on it because I think, like, obviously we have a very unique situation where she was literally, Satan would have rejected our mother. That's why she's here, because Satan was like, there is not enough room in hell for you. Get out. And now she roams earth.
She's stuck in her own purgatory.
We obviously come from that very unique situation, but you're doing something that is incredibly uncommon. Like you decided to sue our fucking mom.
Well, I got an order of protection against her.
And I fucking love that, Faith. Like my order of protection has been having to block every new phone number that she gets, which is a lot. I have never seen somebody get so many new numbers.
It said some really stupid shit.
Evil people will incriminate themselves. It's literally like Freudian slips. She was also used to, I guess, like a criminal justice system that did not give a shit about. Yeah. Well, also now mom is significantly older and didn't take care of herself. So she's not getting the same gazes from people. But you actually, you won that case, didn't you?
Yeah,
Which
like
is
I have
you,
my order of protection from.
And that's what you wanted.
Yeah. She said that she was going to like press me with charges and stuff for a fight that me and her husband got.
Wait, they got married? Mom's on husband 5?
They've been dating for 5 years.
Oh, so Arizona's a common law state.
Like, yeah. And they've been living together for 5 years because he never left
after their first date.
Their first date. Even when mom came to me and was like, "Can you ask him to leave?" Because like when I asked him to leave, he wouldn't. You're 53
years old.
Like I told him to leave and he didn't. So he's like, "My parents won't let me live with them." And I'm like, "Okay, well, my mom doesn't want you to live with us. Why are you here?"
This is the most bizarre thing I have ever heard in my life. That's so crazy. They're like in their 50s. Why? My parents, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was like, I can't leave my first date's house because my parents won't let me.
He didn't even drive at the time either.
How did he get to mom's house? She lives in the middle of nowhere. I wonder if she knows how to be alone. No, actually, that's a stupid thing to wonder. I was around for all of it. She doesn't. It's been a lot of men. So I'm trying to think of like where to take this now. Can you ask, I'm just going to be like 100% frank, Faith. Can you ask me some questions? Because I can't talk about myself. I'm having a hard time.
You don't have to ask me stuff. I mean,
can you ask me? I have to, it's supposed to be like a getting to know your host too. But I don't, I don't know what to talk about.
Girl.
Them.
They, sorry. I grew up with you.
Oh, you grew up with me in mom's Catholic household where I was like, I like women. She went, no, you don't. And I was like,
no, you don't.
It's like,
and it's like, Mom, you do realize that the only porn you watch is girls.
Ew. How do you know?
I knew Mom's passwords.
Oh, ill. You know what? I take that back. I got the great misfortune because I'm older than you.
At least you weren't Matthew holding Mom's vibrator being like, what's this?
Oh, no. I found the DVDs because I existed in an era where there were still hard copies of things. And, I went into her closet to get to the big water bottle. So I had money to buy my lunch. Because
I remember that jug. She still has it.
We've stolen like hundreds and hundreds of dollars from that just for school lunches. And that's hilarious to me. Like, what the hell? Yeah, no, it was, I like took that and they were like haphazardly tossed on top of, they fell on me. Faith, that is exact. I was like, it was disgusting. She was still with Jose at the time. So I was like,
ew.
Yeah. No, I walked in on mom. We both have walked in on mom. Yours were worse than the other. Yeah, yours was, oh God, I didn't mean to trigger a PTSD moment. She's having flashbacks. Oh, just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, real slow.
I am blind.
Just get a little bleach, some bleach eye drops. Anyway, go on. I interrupted you with my they-theming-ness.
I was going to ask you what all you're comfortable getting into.
Everything. Faith, I had sex on television.
Well, I was going to say, are you comfortable talking about that television?
Yeah, hell yeah, sure. Why not? Might as well. I guess I don't talk to you about that a lot. I avoid those topics. Oh,
you don't want you're like, don't talk to me about it. I don't want to talk about it. I hate that. That time in my life. exist,
It's,
even though it bring me following.
I mean, it did. It got me here, literally, all the way here.
You're like, I hate it, but it got me here.
It did. It got me great friends. It got me a backbone, realistically speaking. I have a fucking spine now. I mean, I had one then. It was just, it had scoliosis. Now
was
it's
just
straight.
like, yeah,
It had a curve
like this, and now it's like this.
Now it's straight, and it's okay. So I see that it's kind of a moment for you to ask all the questions you've been wanting to ask that you haven't. Go. Nothing is off limits. I will talk about everything. I've done the therapies.
So how did you and
most people have a hard time coughing it out. I just
even because it's hard to say. It's just because I don't.
I just say like I say things like hiney or hyena.
Right.
Yeah, I just use different words. I'm like hyena.
So how did you hyena? How did you and hyena?
I mean, it's like almost identical. How did we agree to go on the show?
Yeah. How did that even?
I have no way to like politely segue into things. You know that I'm just like, do you want to do the thing? And people either go with it or they don't. But I was in New York I was moving back to New York at that period in time. And that's when I saw the advertisement on Backstage, because I have my Backstage because I do acting and shit like that. They didn't want any of us to say it. And I was like, dude, I literally have a credit in Twilight. Like, people, what do you mean? But I saw the ad.
He picks up the apple.
Yeah, he kicks. You see me behind him in the back. But
just wearing a werewolf shirt.
Yeah, it says Save the Humans. But I saw the listing there, and obviously because I was trying to pay off the rent that I owed on the apartment from COVID, and I was actively trying to relocate to New York. I saw this thing for like a paycheck, and they lied about it. They said that there was like a grand prize. Like whoever posted the listing on Backstage, straight up, I got lied to about a lot of stuff. We'll go into that at some other point. But
well, I was gonna say, has there ever been a prize for Tim?
No, the prize is
you stay.
I actually don't know, because you don't get that many followers. It's not like there's exposure. You make like $250 an hour, basically, is what like that math comes down to. Like 3 months of my life, just like you're under house arrest too. So it's not like I'm out having a good time. I'm just like staring at the beach and people going sailing. And I'm like, Maui looks super fun. Hawaii is an amazing vacation. But I saw that listing, and Hanya was absolutely about the exposure, because you knew that he was like, he did like the Shakespeare stuff. Not anymore.
Oh,
I mean, he still does. I think he still does like this Shakespeare stuff, but he's back to knowing, I think, what size his cup is, and the amount of attention he should be getting. But I feel bad being mean, but I do feel like I should be mean to him. Kind of. The people pleaser in me is like, don't be mean. But I'm like, So I saw that. I had basically been like, this would be a really good idea. And like me and him were talking about doing like an open relationship. And then while I was in New York, he like let me know that he tested positive for something. And so like I got to sort of mitigate my expectations of the relationship. So like this is me actually getting to clear the air a little bit. I was already like, I basically was hoping to make like salvage something that wasn't salvageable. So like he called me. He called and was honest with me and was like, hey, I just tested positive for this. And I know that like we haven't. It was nothing crazy. Which one is the clap?
That's gonorrhea.
Okay, no, it was the other one. I feel
so you got chlamydia.
Not me. He did. I was in New York for 2 months.
He got chlamydia.
Yeah. I mean, I still went because that's like, it can be like one of the quiet things. But Katie, my best friend Katie, was basically like, hey, I think that you need to take like a really hard, serious look at this relationship and decide if it's something that you want to do. And she goes, because that's really shady. And she was like, and how did he phrase it? Because the way he kind of phrased it was like, he was like, I don't know I don't know how long I've had it. So it was like he kind of like trying to pitch to me that like he could have gotten it before we met. Like he was not telling me that he was sleeping with other people.
There was no time frame that
No,
he was sharing.
Well, he was just not communicating at all or being considerate of his partner's sexual health or any of the other women that he was clearly being intimate with. And so Katie had this like very serious talk with me.
I love Katie.
Yeah, Katie's amazing. I have a poem Katie wrote for me. She'll be on the show eventually, whatever. We'll talk about it then. I was like, okay, I don't think I can take this very seriously. But it was like that delusional partner thinking where it was like, I can fix him, or like, there's so much opportunity here. When I really needed Chrissy, I can't say her last name. He's not your soulmate. He's just a boy. Hit him with your car. That's who I really needed in my life at that moment in time. I needed someone.
Oh, the girl that loves pink?
Yes, I needed her being like, he's not your soulmate. He's just a boy. Hit him with your car.
Hit him with your car.
I didn't have a car, but I had a bicycle. He could have, it would have been fine. But
push him in front of the subway.
Yeah, push him in front of a subway. But so I went back. I applied for it. I applied for it without even talking to him, actually, because I was like, worst comes to worst and he doesn't want to go on it. I'll just go on as
doubtful, though.
Well, I would just go on as a single, would have been what I would have said.
Yeah. And you were fun as hell.
Mm-hmm. Then me and Taylor would have been exactly the same because he was supposed to be in a relationship on the show. And then him and his girlfriend broke up.
No, you're lying.
Nope. That's was
some tea I didn't know.
Yeah, Taylor's girlfriend, Taylor, and him broke up.
Dang. Such a soft, tender boy.
No, he was a soft, tender boy because he's a Virgo and they're manipulative devils. He knew what he was doing.
Was being sarcastic.
No, I think he is. He's got a skinny white boy in there. Like that softness does genuinely exist, but all the steroids have rotted his brain.
I was
that Miami nightlife.
I was going to say that. I need my C4.
Oh my God, that's right. He snorted fucking pre-workout. Oh my God. Yeah, there were no drugs there. So he was like creatine. Yeah, so I got back to Santa Fe. I had applied for it. I sent in a video. When they got back to me about it, I was like, oh, fuck, I guess I should talk to Hyena. And so I pitched it because at that point, I pretty much knew that he didn't feel the same way about me that I felt about him. And I was just kind of, I was kind of led on because like, you know how I pour love into people, whether I'm romantically interested in them or not. Like I got a lot of love to give. And he was like, ooh, I really like this. He got food cooked for him all the time.
Receive the love to give.
Yeah, he really, really liked it. And I am so used to not getting anything back from like unhealed childhood wounds and shit that I just was like, yeah, just keep taking from me. That's fine. I have fun.
No, yeah, girl, I know. Oh, homie, I know.
It's okay, Faith. I misgender myself a lot. I call myself it. I'm literally it. I'm like, it's alive. That happened. So the way I pitched it to him was I was like, could be like...
That's a Stephen King reference.
I know. I love church. I was
just making sure they knew.
I love you. That
was a Christianity reference.
I don't think my fan base is Christian. Just saying.
You've won.
My previous guest was talking about autistic Vikings. So, yeah, but... Yeah.
I love Taylor.
The good Taylor. I have a multitude of Taylors in my life now. But I pitched that to him, was like, it could be great exposure. You could get like somewhere, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, I love it. We'll do this. He was like, we'll do the open relationship. I was like, sure. Like,
oh yeah, that'll get you far.
Well, there was like a whole plan. No, it's okay. Like, this is where we get to come clean. There was like a whole plan. Like, I will fully admit that there was like kind of like a loose plan of what we wanted to happen. Like in my brain, it was like mostly jokes. Cause you know that I've wanted to start like my bridal fashion line.
Yeah.
Which isn't actually bridal, but it's the best way to get like a multitude of my design scene. And so like we were talking about that and I was like, oh, us getting like engaged at the end could be like really, really great for like my bridal company. And I think that might be where his delusion lied. But I was like, bitch, did you not pay attention to everything fucking else that you did through this entire motherfucking show? Do you think I would
pay attention to his conversations with Karina?
He didn't pay attention to fucking shit. And then he tried to gaslight me about them afterward. They manipulated my words. It was taken out of context. And I was like, bro, I don't know how to. Bro, I don't know how to tell you that, yeah, I'm an out of sight, out of mind kind of person. You got to be like in front of me for me to like really remember you're there. And I'm trying to work on it. But, you know, it's a real problem. There's no way to take that out of context. Like, you just...
You're dancing on somebody in a Speedo.
Oh, my God.
How are you?
Oh, the Speedos. Oh my God. And it makes me so upset. So like, when he proposed.
I'm sorry, I just can't.
Faith, when he proposed.
The guy that he went shopping for the ring with, him and that, they're married now?
No, they're married? Oh shit. He's still definitely cheating on her. Oh, I would not have followed through with that. Jesus Christ. I don't feel bad for her. She definitely built that. That's exactly what she wants. She can keep it. I also know who my enemies and shit are now. Like, I don't give a fuck about maintaining friendships with anybody off that show. Ooh, I like it. I really don't care. I'll talk all the shit. My NDA is done. I don't give a fuck. Also, I don't talk to any of them anymore. So like, literally have nothing to lose. What are they going to do? They're going to be like, this autistic bitch came on the show and was autistic and we hated her.
Autistic. Okay. And now
she just like, she didn't fit in with us. And I didn't like her. Cool. Fucking great. I didn't like any of you either. I mean, I did like Ashley. She was cool. She's also like the most beautiful person. Really nice. She's also like the most beautiful person I've ever seen, like in real life. Like she looks like a walking magazine page. It's insane. She'd wake up and she'd be like, good morning. And I'd be like, oh my God. She is. She truly does have like goddess energy too. Truly a Libra.
And her sister too.
Well, oh my God. Her sister is like one of my favorite people on earth. Vicky is the fucking bomb.
They're both so stunning. I follow both of them and their company on Instagram.
Rod Sisters Juices. Shout out to them. Get your fresh squeezed juices. Really good for your gut health and stuff. She has no idea I'm even doing this. I could have her on.
They have no idea who I am, but I'm like, support them.
You're like, I love you guys.
I'm everybody's biggest fan.
I'm a ride or die. Until you're a dick to me or like, you know, the truth inevitably gets back to me because I have a Scorpio moon, I'll be friends with you.
Where your energy just starts being really weird.
Oh, then I do the fade away. That's when I'm like, goodbye.
I do the Homer Simpson into the bushes.
Yeah, it's the slow Irish exit. You're like, I'm just going to slowly stop responding to your text.
Oh, and then maybe in a year, I'll let you know why I stopped. And then I'll block you again.
So I don't even do that. So something.
It's just for my mental health. I'm like, I don't want this I don't know if this is going to impact them because I know that mentally it would have impacted me. So I'm going to let them know why I stopped talking to them, but then I'm going to block them. So bye.
See, that's just way too much fucking effort for me. I'm like, I don't owe you an explanation for why I don't want to be your friend. And then they're gone. That type of person. I mean, I've also just been bullied for like my general demeanor, like the entirety of my life. And so that might be the cause of it. Like Reddit.
Reddit does not hate you. I went on Reddit.
That's what I heard. I felt like it did, but I looked at it like a long, long, long time ago. And I was like, oh, this is a scary place.
I went on there and they could have been softer.
It's Reddit. Like, that's not where like the gentle parts of society lives. Not where.
Also, Italian women that are fertile.
Oh, you mean my mustache?
And
well, according to the internet, I have
on my forehead. This is a tattoo.
I mean, I got it to look like a branding. That's why it looks like that. I wanted it to look like a scar. Some people also, Faith, they just go on there to like say wild shit. I think my favorite comment, and Taylor's the one that told me about this.
You have defenders on there though.
Oh yeah, neutral defenders, and where they're like, we don't have any feelings towards Ashe, but you're just being a douche. He said something.
Yeah.
He said he saw this post that was like, I'm seeing all this hate for the other cast members. Why no hate for Ashe? And they were like, well, because just there's not no hate for Ashe, but like the things you're gonna dislike about Ashe are just like mannerisms and things that they do. They're not just being a malicious person. Like they haven't done anything to be.
They're just being
mean.
a person.
That,
she had 2 shots of tequila.
I had just been pregnant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And before that,
she had 2 shots of tequila, and she is having a lot of hormones.
Yeah, that was a fucking.
Oh shit!
I can't believe.
Dance on the counter.
I can't believe that they still cast me. Like,
leave her alone. Leave her alone. Let her shake her ass.
Oh God, I shook my ass more than I think anybody in that house. I still shake my ass more than anybody. I went to karaoke the other day and I had to like keep my butt firmly planted. I was like, this is a private karaoke room. You can't twerk on the couch.
You are not allowed to shake your butt.
I was definitely going through it. That experience actually showed me what I'm like when I'm not in a great headspace. And I was like, oh, that's when I have fun partying. I have fun partying when I'm not doing well as a person.
Yeah, that's how I used to be. That was my life.
Why are you doing that? Was my life? Yeah, it was an interesting time. What's something that you've wanted to know that I've just like shut you down on? Because I know I've shut everybody down.
You never really talked about. I've always really wanted to know like what the people were actually like. You've only ever been honest to me about Karina because
Karina's
you're like
chill.
follow Karina.
Yeah, I follow Karina.
Ashe. You've only been honest about the people that you told me to follow.
Well, I mean, Karina was like, do you think maybe you're the fuck up? And I was like, bitch, you're so real for that. I fucking love you. She was like, you're upset with her for doing the same thing. Well, you're upset with them for doing the same thing you did? Yeah,
it's funny.
But it's different when I do it. Yes, that's called boy math. And it's never correct. And they don't show their work. Yeah, it's... Okay, so I will be honest about this part because people have been like, how did you figure out to do the, like, what ended up happening? And so, like, I didn't think I was going to meet anyone that I, like, clicked with on the show. And Hanya was super banking on that, too, because I was so, like, gung-ho about him. I was like, oh, no, I love you, Hanya. I want to be with you. I honestly, it was just because...
that's what you were saying before you left.
It was because I lived in Santa Fe for 4 years and the dating pool has 3 people in it and they're all alcoholics and he seemed really great on paper and like in my brain, I was never leaving Santa Fe. And so like, thank God for that show because good Lord. But he...
so glad you left that place.
Yeah, and moved to a bigger hell. It's a bigger... drier. I know I wouldn't be here. I'm very grateful for it. I was like super happy that I got away, but what did you just mumble?
I said you were in love with him.
Yeah, I really wanted to like make that work. I was like, we should be together. Like we just make sense. We totally didn't make sense. It is incredible what romantic delusion can do to your prefrontal cortex. Like people, if you think you really like somebody, just fuck off into the woods for like 3 or 4 days. It'll fix it. It'll fix it. Or go to Maui.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
She does it regularly. So
I go to New York for 2 months. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, I do love my boyfriend. Oh. I'm literally kidding, Alex.
So we were locked in a hotel room for 2 weeks. And when we got there, I was still a super gung-ho about Hanya. And you know me, I can delude myself pretty intensely because I want to believe in people. That's truly what it is. And I also I think we all have this thing in us where it's like, we don't want to be wrong either. And so we tend to overlook certain shades of pink when it comes to flags that could be indicating darker hues down the line. But we got locked in a hotel for 2 weeks for the quarantining for after COVID in Hawaii and stuff. Holy fuck. Actually, if you want to find out if you actually like someone or not, just lock yourself in a hotel room with no food, no access to water, no access to sunlight, and then just like see how that person treats you. Because the entire 2 weeks, I've never finished the show and I have no desire to do it. And I kind of just bullshit people when they're like, oh, I love The Wire. Yeah, me too. No, I don't. Because I was forced to watch it in quarantine. I was like, can we watch a different show? And he was like, no, it's so good. That should have been my first ticket to leave. Like, I don't want to watch this.
Awful.
It's just crime. It's just crime. I was like, I'm like, I get it. I'm totally down to watch this.
Yeah, I like Grey's Anatomy.
I don't want to watch that.
At least there's sex in that.
Yeah, I mean, at least there's sex in that because I wasn't having any locked in my hotel room for 2 weeks. That was a fight we had. I walked around naked in front of him at one point. I know, TMI, sorry. I walked around in front of him, like dropped my towel, didn't even like blink at me. And I started crying because my hormones were still like thrown off from him getting me pregnant. I was like crying and he was like, why are you crying? Like he was upset at me.
Why are you crying?
For crying. And
why
I was like,
are you reacting to me, not reacting to you?
How dare you have feelings? Ugh, I'm responsible for this. Bleh. But I was like, I sat on the couch and I was like, do you even like me? And he was like, of course I do. What are you talking about? I'm like, I walked around in front of you naked and it's like, I'm invisible. We've been locked in here for days. And you like,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
No, it's okay. I think about me crying about this now and I'm like, you should have just left, knocked on a producer's room and been like, I'm going
2 days
home.
ago, I said that to Alex. I was like, do you even like me?
What? If he's not giving you enough affection,
No, he gives me more than enough.
Oh, were you just PMSing? Was it that time?
I think so.
Yeah, when I love affection, but only for like 5 days out of the month. I'm like, touch me, don't stop touching me. Then I'm like, leave me alone. It's a lot.
I only like kisses for 5 seconds.
I'm like, hey, my trauma's back. Go. No, I do actually really love touch. I do know that that's one of my love languages. Because you can't fake it. You can't fake wanting to touch somebody. You know what I mean? Like there is an authenticity that comes through in physical touch when you like truly love someone. And so I do love it. I just
Alex
need to know.
Be like, can I touch you?
Consent. We love a consent king. We love a consent king. No segue at all. I was going to say perfect segue, but there's no segue. So we got locked in this hotel and he was condescending to me. And then as we got closer, like we got in a fight about that. I was like, you don't need to talk to me like I'm a child. You could, if I ask for your help for something, just fucking help me with it. You don't need to be a jerk. And he was like,
yeah,
it was annoying. And then, as we approached where we were going to get separated and like moved into stuff, he started, and like, now I can look at this reasonably and be like, oh my God, I know what was happening. Now, like I see what he was doing.
He just catchy?
He was loving. He was doing the love thing. He was starting to lay on the softness because that is what was going to stick with me the longest were the last 3 days before that. Well, that's what he thought. I'm autistic, so I don't hold on to like the things that happened the least amount of times. I hold on to the things that happened.
You hold on to the most amount of time. What an idiot.
Yeah, I don't. That's why, like, when mom's like, "But I love you." No, all of the data indicates that is a lie.
That you do not. No,
false. It worked a little bit because I again wanted to love him.
And you wanted everything that he was giving to you at that time.
It was just like I know better. You know, I know that that's not sustainable. I know that it was never going to be sustainable. But so we left, and the last day before we got split up to be put in our separate villas, he said, I don't want an open relationship anymore.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
He can go kiss his mom's
Well, that
ass.
shit did not stick because I was like, you literally haven't been saying that to me for like months now.
He should have had that conversation. I don't know.
Months before, but he was like, I didn't know what I want. Cool. You don't figure out what you want the day before your girlfriend gets taken away from you. Or
you don't figure that out in 3 days of affection.
Yeah, you don't figure that out. So, we got separated, but like on top of that, the week of our final interviews, I had flown from New York to LA and he flew from Santa Fe to LA for the final interview. And when I saw him in the airport, I went to run up to him all excited and he was like, calm down. And then handed me my exact coffee order. And I was like, it was so like, that's a great example of the type of emotional shit that constantly happened with him, where it was like, obviously I'm paying attention, but I'm also negging you for having any feelings towards me. And it was like, it was just the biggest mind fuck to have someone. It's called breadcrumbing is what it's called, I believe. But
and
it's
everything that you like, but let me not like you.
Yes, that's what it feels like
me.
so that I can keep trying to earn the love is basically what it was. So we're there for 3 days. 3 days. Keep this in mind. This is after in June when I went to Santa Fe for his birthday. I had said to him, because he was like, let's do the open relationship. I was like, cool. Yeah, sure. Here's the rules. They have to know about me. I have to know about them. You have to use protection. And like, that's it. He followed one of them, which was he told her about me. And then did not tell me that he'd had an open relationship for the entirety of July until after he got what he wanted from me sexually. And then after that, he was like, oh, hey, by the way, I've been seeing someone. And it was after the final interview, after everything. And he tried to make it be like, well, I didn't want to ruin it. And I'm like, bro, you just manipulated an entire situation because you knew I wouldn't want to go on this show with you because you fucking lied.
Yeah.
Him on that last day being like, I don't want an open relationship. The little, like my Scorpio placement was like, no, I'm not letting go of what I know because you pulled some shady shit on me. And I was like, I'm going to accept what this lesson is. And like, you could see me, I think in that, the like last dinner that the couples have, you can see me kind of like losing my mind a little bit because I was.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't want to say it like that, but it's just because I know you.
Yeah. Well, it was because I knew that I was.
Carly and I were watching it together because I was out there for the 2 months that the show was on. Isn't that funny?
I love it. You guys got to watch me together though. Oh, Ashe is so sad right now.
What's going on with Ashe? She's like, oh my God, Ashe is not okay. And I'm like, Ashe is not okay.
And like, this is all.
And then I would look at you in the background. I would see, and I would pause it. And I'd be like, oh my God, do you see Ashe in the background? And she's like, oh my gosh, what is going on with her in the background?
Literally that night, I learned that I have a special talent in blowing snot bubbles. Like it was so bad. Like every like 3 seconds. I think that's why there's not enough of me in that episode. It's because like anytime I'd be like, bloop. I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I was hysterical. And it was because like I knew that he was not going to actually try and learn anything. Like I kept trying to tell him too, at like certain points I was holding his hand and I was like, I need you to actually use this as an experience to figure out what you want. Yeah. And I was like, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the things that you told me to, like the things we talked about. And I'm going to be open-minded and try. I need you to like actually hear me. And he didn't. He was always so like, I hear you. Yes, Ashe. I hear you. I love you. I love you too. And it was so weird because like I was clocking that then. I was like, he's not talking to me like a person. But it turned into, I was like heartbroken because I knew that I basically had just gone into this alone because all I was getting was that like rehearsed actor shit. And so people have been like, did you plan the like Taylor shit? And I really didn't. I didn't think I was going to meet anybody. I do think I got like one of the cutest, maybe. I liked Tommy. I thought Tommy was really great. I felt like, but we didn't have like the same kind of, like, it was just me and Taylor trauma bonded. It was just easy to like, exchanged that. And I will say that there was definitely like a little part of me that was like, you know what? I had to deal with like all of the repercussions of your choices. You get to watch me do the thing that you wanted, but didn't actually want me to do. It was almost like kind of like a little bit of a punishment.
Well, that's what me and Carly said.
Yeah. I was like, I know that, like, me and Taylor.
We were like, what comes around goes around.
And I wasn't trying to be malicious. Like, it's not like I picked Taylor for that. Like, the Taylor stuff just kind of panned out the way it was. But I was like, I am going to be open-minded and I am going to do this. And it's like, I had to hear.
And you said you were going to be.
And
or
like,
try to be.
Yeah, and I was open-minded with Taylor. I didn't think that was ever going to be a thing. Like, we were both honest with each other where I was like, I would never talk to you in real life, dude, ever.
We saw who you, we were like, what the hell is wrong with her right now?
It was because he was literally being blinded by the sun.
Because we were like, okay, so she's either going to go for this guy, this guy, this guy. And then you chose Taylor and we're like,
well, the guy I was going to ask got asked. Who did you guys think I was going to pick?
I can't remember their names, but they were like not jacked up like that. And
yeah,
they seemed sweet. There were a couple dudes that were sweet. I think one of them was named like Blake or something.
Blake was a veteran.
Oh, I didn't remember that part.
Yeah. That's what he introduced himself with. He was like, I'm a veteran. And I was like, oh. We have differing ideals.
There was one guy that introduced himself. He's like, I'm a blue collar worker. And I was like, Ashe loves a blue collar man.
I do not like blue collar.
What, you love a union man? You like a union man? You don't want a blue collar?
No, because I know Dad.
Dad's not blue collar.
That is what that job is considered, is blue collar. You are a man of the people. It's a city job. He has a union. It's blue collar. Yeah, blue collar guys will leave the toilet seat up and let me fall into it. And then when I'm like, why the fuck did you do that? They'll laugh about it. I ain't trying to fuck with anybody like that. I'm good. They live in like moldy apartments.
I do.
You weren't on a dating show though. I'm not trying to date a blue collar man who signed up for reality TV.
I have a blue collar boy. His name is Mr. Salad Fingers. He likes rusty spoons.
I love rusty spoons. I can't believe I showed you guys that. I feel like we've gone on a bit. I'm like sick of talking about myself. Well, this has been a fucking great episode. I will obviously have you back on again. Likely for the Twilight episode. You'll be another guest host.
Side part, if you would like to keep part of the seizure in there, you can.
Oh.
You don't have to keep the whole thing in.
Okay.
Just for context.
Thank you for letting us do that.
Know. Yeah, just...
I'll also send it to you.
Purposes.
I'll send it to you so you can see your seizures too, because you expressed some interest in that.
Yeah, I haven't seen them since, Dr. Bella was my doctor, and he was like, this is somebody dancing. And he watched me shake my ass for 30 seconds. So
that's a weird seizure.
No, Carly was recording me dancing.
Oh, it was sound actual. Well, on that note.
Both ways is au revoir, like bye, hello, and goodbye. Hello, goodbye.
You can say ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella. How did you say that again? Just say I want that to be like the sound that wraps up the episode is au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir, Faith. I love you very much. Thank you for coming on and being one of my first guests. You're beautiful as ever. I appreciate you coming on and being an advocate for epilepsy and I guess probing my brain for the meaty bits of the secrets.
Next time I'll be in the studio with you.
Yes, you will. I love you so much, Faith. I can't wait to see you.
I love you. Follow me on Instagram. It's faith.wby. I post seizure updates there and stuff. And I'm her biggest fan. And you can get a bunch of updates from me about her on there too.
Yes, we share a lot of info. Me and Faith are very, very close. Well, I'm your biggest fan. I love you very much. You have a really good night. Give all the boys hugs and love for me.
I will. When they get home, I will.
Okay. I love you, Faith.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm dead.
I'm dead.
You are gonna have a really, really bad time, sir.
this shit.